Welcome to Ask the Security Guy. I'm Holly Magnuson, and once again, Sean Corman here in my office. Welcome back.
Good to be back.
Good to be back. We are going to talk about a hot topic that's been in the news quite a bit lately, and that is our beloved friends at Facebook. So you want to give us kind of a snapshot of what's been going on with Facebook and what's created this controversy?
Well, I would, but I already did it in a Facebook post, so.
Yeah, fine. We'll tag that. No, go ahead.
No, basically what's happening is Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook are being tagged and not on Facebook, obviously, although that could happen.
It could happen. Be kind of bashed.
They're being bashed and investigated for a massive data privacy issue, or what's even being called a huge breach of users' private data on Facebook. Mm-hmm. So we'll dig into that a little bit.
Okay. So this is happening a lot. It's been in the news quite a bit. Mm-hmm. What does that mean to us as individuals?
Well, it's interesting because, I've been a big proponent of saying, if you put it online, be prepared for at some point it being public knowledge. Yeah. You've heard me say that in countless
time and time
classes.
Again. Yes.
Yes, it's one of my catchphrases. With that said, that's exactly what happened here. Mm-hmm. So Facebook had an agreement with another organization to share certain types of data. That organization took it several steps further and basically leveraged off of what used to be allowed back in 2014 and harvested not only the person's data that interacted with them, but all of their friends.
Yeah.
And their likes and all this other stuff about them. And the research firm, a data mining company essentially, is basically saying that we can predict how users will respond to certain types of ads and certain types of other things based on their likes and other things. Mm-hmm. Okay? So from that perspective, it's not that uncommon. I mean, Google already does this, but they keep it in-house.
Yeah.
Facebook does it. They keep it in-house, except where they were opening the doors to developers on their platform who were also leveraging that data. So it's this constant thing of that social interaction platform where you're liking things and you're posting things and you're interacting with things. All of that data is recorded, and all of it paints a picture of you as a person. Well, from a marketing company's perspective or anyone else, this is pure gold.
Yeah, it's how they make money.
So, I mean, there's this thing being, they're calling it a breach. And yes, the organization used the data against the terms of service that were agreed upon. So that could, in effect, be called a breach. From a security perspective, this to me is not so much of a breach as a privacy issue.
Yeah.
And there's a difference. Security and privacy are not the same thing. We use security controls to protect privacy, and vice versa. They complement each other. They work together, right? So you keep your passwords private.
Please keep your passwords private.
So that you can maintain security.
Right.
So they work together.
Yeah, they work together, and very important to each other.
But they're not the same thing.
No.
And that's where this one is getting a little wrapped around the axles, is because from a media perspective, they're saying, well, how do we label this thing? Well, we're going to call it a breach.
Yeah.
Yes, no, maybe so. It depends on how you look at it and how you want to interpret it. It is. That's really the root of it. Mm-hmm. The contract stated that the data was to be used for this type of thing, and the company went miles further with it. That's more of a contract issue and an ethical issue than an actual security issue per se. Now, there's also talk of this delete Facebook movement that's going on and that kind of thing. And I'm a little cynical about that because, I remember when MySpace came out and how people hopped on that.
Yep.
And then, it had its rise and fall. Although there is still a MySpace out there.
Oh yeah, it's still out there. It's pretty dead, but it's out there.
Yeah, it's kind of gasping still. But I was surprised to actually see it had a webpage still.
Yeah.
Facebook has a huge user population, and if you look at it as user population as a single nation, it would be the largest nation on the planet.
It is now the largest, because at one time it was like third.
Yeah.
It's been slowly
Growing.
Yep.
Yeah, it has not slowed down its growth. Facebook's, when the stories came out, Facebook's stock shares took a dip. But the last time I looked at the stock market, even that was starting to show signs that it was climbing back up again.
Yeah, you mentioned that, and it's like, we just don't seem to care, do we?
You know, I don't think it's so much that we don't care. I think it's we're inundated by things.
Yeah.
So there's a concept that, as you become, if you're constantly exposed to a thing, it doesn't have that much of an emotional or psychological impact on you over time.
Yep.
Right? I know growing up on a farm, there's certain types of smells or things that you get used to, and you don't really register as readily. And it's true in the media too. I mean, we see violence, we see this, we see that, we see the other, and we become desensitized to those things.
Yeah.
Well, security and security breaches and security news are suffering from that same paradigm.
Yeah, we've had such an overload of data breaches that it's just another one.
Yeah, and people aren't really taking it seriously anymore. It's starting to be that Charlie Brown's teacher effect.
Yeah.
Where people they're hearing it, that should be something significant I should probably pay attention to, and they want to air out the other.
Yeah.
On to the next, major concern of the day. And that's problematic when this stuff matters.
Yeah.
As I've worked with so many people on recovering their credit and recovering their identities and dealing with the identity theft process and how intrusive that can be and how devastating it can be to your life. I mean, I've seen people lose the opportunity to buy homes because of stuff like this. And the process of recovery can take years. So none of that is easy or simple or passive even. It has a profound effect at a deeply personal level, and it's preventable.
Yeah.
And it's I just went through a process recently of helping someone through a process of unfreezing their credit to stop rampant identity theft.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a cycle for this person.
It's crazy.
And but freezing their credit stops that.
Yep.
It stops the bleed, so to speak.
And if you need help on how to freeze your credit, you can go to security.apu.edu.
And we have instructions there.
We do.
And yes, my credit is frozen as well.
As is mine.
But the credit bureaus actually have good tools out there to help protect your credit. And they've gotten a lot better at it, and they're actually offering a series, all three have different tools now that are subscription-based that make it even easier to manage the lock and unlock of your credit. Now, if you're willing to put down the money for it, great. Freezing and thawing your credit in California costs $10 per event.
Yeah.
So if you're, I went through a process recently where I was dealing with a bank, and we were going through a credit matter. And I asked them, I said, well, which credit bureau do you want to use to pull my credit for this matter we're working on? And they said, well, we want to use this one. I said, okay, give me a minute. So I went out, thought it for a very short period of time. I said, okay, go pull it. I did all this while I was on the phone with customer service.
Nice.
So they did. And they said, okay, Mr. Cronin, we have it. I said, okay. I locked it back down.
Yep.
Now, it's an interactive process. It's not nearly as convenient as just having them do what they were going to do. But it's a level of protection. And it was funny, too, because customer service was actually really impressed. They said, we have rarely seen people actually use the tools that are available. And they love it.
Yeah. Oh, because it protects them, too, in the end.
Yeah. So, it was an extra set of hoops for all of us to jump through, but it was worthwhile.
Right.
With Facebook, think before you post.
Right, as we've talked about before.
Think before you click.
Yeah.
What are you using? And one of the questions you constantly need to ask yourself with any social platform you're involved in is, what's the use case? What are you using it for?
Yeah.
For me, I have family all over the country.
The same here.
So I use it to keep up with this small army of corpsmen and figure out who's doing what, where, when, and how.
Yeah.
So I usually keep in touch with family.
Yeah.
Others have different uses for it. Others browse it for different things.
Mm-hmm.
And we all have different uses, and every one of those actions that we perform on the social platform, whether it's Facebook or Google or something else, is recorded.
Yeah, even Snapchat.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, because that never went sideways.
Yeah, no, never. So what do we do for the future with what's gone on now? I mean,
I think this is a good call to action for people and a good reminder for folks.
Yep.
Think about what you're doing on the social platform, why you're doing it, before you click.
Right. Do you really want to like that post? Do you really want to say what you're going to say?
Yeah, because unless you've gone through and taken the time to read the terms of privacy and the terms of use that you agreed to when you signed up for a free service.
Yeah.
Because the old adage is still true. Ain't no free lunch.
No free lunches, yep.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, Google, Facebook, whoever else you interact with, if it's a free service, you pay for it with your privacy.
Yeah.
That's how you pay.
Yep.
You're giving up your privacy or parts of your privacy in return for something from the company. And they, in turn, market to you or sell you the data about you to other marketing firms who will market stuff to you in the hopes that you will buy stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, these companies don't exist as charities. They're out there to make money.
Yeah. And the ones that were out there as charities are closing.
Yeah, they're either closing or gone.
Yeah. So with that, keep that in mind. Why are you using it? How are you using it? And that. If you have questions about this issue or any issue revolving around security, I can talk today. You can email us at iso@apu.edu. And until next month, have a great day.
Let's hope it's boring.
Yes, boring.
Boring is good.
Bye-bye.
Bye.